Hi, hello, and welcome back to another video. This is a follow-up video from one that I made a few months ago at this point. It's about solar guitars, and I've been getting a lot of requests for this one, so here we go. In the first video I made, a viewer asked for my take on what was going on with solar guitars and the increasing number of quality control complaints against them. And it was simple. Solar always did their quality control in the factory in Indonesia, and with the ongoing pandemic and travel restrictions, it makes sense that they wouldn't be going to the factory in a foreign country to do the QC. Instead, they're shipping the guitars from Indonesia to the Solar warehouse in Spain to do the QC there. And with a big move like this, it's understandable how there'll be a few things that'll slip through the net. And at the time, I was very hopeful that this net would tighten up and there'd be less and less QC issues. And to be fair, there seems to be less QC issues. Most of the things that I saw were finish issues or fret issues, and they seem to be less and less. So that's good. That's an improvement. But, and there is a but, a few things to mention in a minute. Anyway, after the initial video, Ola reached out to me and asked if I wanted to try out a Solar. I agreed, and he sent one out to me on loan for a review. I made that review and then sent the guitar back, and I still stand by that review, because it was a 100% honest look at that guitar, and overall, I liked it. I thought it looked great, sounded good, played good, it was good value for money. There were a couple of things that held it back, but I mentioned them in the review too. Overall, I thought it was a good guitar. When I had finished the review, this was about after a week of playing it, I packed the guitar back up and waited to ship it. Having a guitar on loan is kind of like a rental car. I was very much afraid to scratch it. This was around Christmas to New Year's time, so I couldn't really ship it at that point. It stayed in the box in my possession for a couple more weeks, and I checked the guitar the day before I shipped it out, and it was perfectly fine. There were no new issues. The guitar was perfect. Now, before we move on to the topic of this video, I'd like to rant. In the review video I made, I mentioned that I received a free of charge t-shirt from Solar. I disclosed this fully in the video. I even clicked the paid promotion box on the YouTube video because it would be disingenuous of me to claim that I didn't get a t-shirt. I received a t-shirt. Now somehow this has become evidence to suggest not only was I bribed, but my review is not to be trusted, nor am I to be trusted. Over a t-shirt. I hate guitar players. They're just Now, onto the main point of this video. Recently there seems to be a large influx of more serious issues with some guitars. And it seems to have turned what was once a very fan-orientated group on Facebook into, well, from what I've seen, quite the opposite. To be clear, there are two Solar Facebook groups. The one that I'm talking about isn't moderated or run by Solar, and there are a lot of complaints to be seen. Whereas the other one is moderated and run by Solar, and there aren't any complaints of any kind. I'll touch on what I deem to be a minor issue first. There seems to be an issue with whatever logo, decal, or adhesive that they're using for the logos, because a lot of people are having their logos bubble and peel the lacquer that's sprayed over them. It's not the end of the world, but it is a bit unsightly, and unfortunate that it's happening to what aren't cheap guitars. It's not something that impacts playability, it's not great. And importantly, it's not exactly a QC issue, because it's something that's happening over time, as opposed to something that can be easily spotted in a quality inspection. Now on to the big issue. It's cracks in fretboards. I have seen quite a few posts in the Solar community group about these, and it's mainly ebony, but even in some cases roasted maple too. There seems to be a decent amount of this happening. Now, wood is wood, and wood can crack, especially ebony. It needs general maintenance. That's very important. And it would be very easy to blame the end user of misuse if it was happening to one or two fretboards, but it doesn't seem to be just isolated. And the vast majority of these complaints seem to be happening only a few months, or even less than that, after someone gets their guitar. A poll was made in the Solars group in late January, and out of the just under 500 people that partook in this poll, just under 20% reported having issues, including their logos peeling and fretboard cracks. Granted, it's not a large cross-section of the Solar customers, and I'm sure there are a lot more happy customers than unhappy customers. One thing to bear in mind though is that this is a Facebook group, so, hell on earth. There are extremists on either side of this. Some people have never even touched a Solar guitar but really desperately want to see the brand fail, while others have one guitar that they don't have any problems with, which means that anybody else who has a big issue with their guitar is just a hater and can be dismissed. So these two factions do have the ability to skew a poll like this quite a bit, although there is evidence that I've shown on screen probably already to suggest that it isn't just one or two people who are having these cracks. There is a decent amount. Now, issues like this isn't anything new. Guitars have problems all the time. The thing that most people seem to be very frustrated about is Solar seem to be very quiet about this. In fact, they've not said anything about it publicly. So I reached out to Ola to see if he'd come on, do an interview and maybe just reassure some people. Now, he wasn't up for that, but he did say this to me. I asked if I could read this out in the video and he was okay with that, so here's what he has to say. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I have seen some of the posts in the Solar group community. Since we are an online community, we are subject to public praise and criticism. It's part of the business. Nevertheless, I do not believe that an interview regarding this subject is needed at this point of time. The fact that we are an online company selling and servicing end users directly gives us an immediate overview of product issues and the corresponding percentages involved. We constantly measure the amount of after-sales issues compared to our sales. So, currently, even though we are experiencing more cases in absolute numbers, the percentage of issues versus the monthly sold guitars remains consistent and well within industry standards. Our goal is to always maintain the smallest numbers possible. We have developed reporting systems with our factories that defines action plans in regards to production improvements after each QC batch we are doing in our warehouse in Spain. Regarding our customer service is replying to all customer issues within 24 to 48 hours. We encourage all customers with issues to contact us directly. This level of service is something we take very seriously. Now, I thought that was a good statement, and it's understandable. There will generally be more happy customers than unhappy customers in everything. And it's also nice to hear that they've implemented a system that'll try and fix issues before they happen in the future, so that's really good too. And obviously, if you're unfortunate enough to have an issue, just contact customer service and they'll respond to you. So that's really good. The only issue that I have with this statement is, why was I the one who had to make it? I didn't want to have to make this video. I don't think I'm expanding on anything that hasn't already been said in my first one. At this point it's a bit boring. I can really only make one video a week, and this one wasn't planned, so now all my other ones are pushed back. And this whole video would have been averted if Solar just went on Facebook, or not even Facebook, just that Facebook group and wrote, "Hey guys, noticed a few of you are having some fretboard issues, not to worry, just contact customer service and we'll make sure you're taken care of." Like, that would be it. People were petitioning me to make a video. I was getting emails daily, and yeah, it's annoying. I'm not Solar's PR guy, I don't want to be Solar's PR guy, but it's clear to see that one of the core bits of frustration people are having is that Solar's lack of acknowledgement, and it's understandable to a degree. If you spent, well, €1,000 plus on a guitar and it's got a problem, and you're seeing everyone else with these problems, you want some acknowledgement that it's going to be okay. Potential customers want to know that it's going to be okay. Now finally, the consumer advocacy part of the video. I'm fully aware that my review, it's got 30,000 views, so it either has been or will be used by potential customers when deciding whether to buy a guitar or not. And if they buy a guitar from watching my videos, I want to make sure that they'll be okay. Overall, from what I've seen, a lot of people are very happy with how Solar have dealt with customer service issues, and I've seen that, and that's really good. You really can't ask anything more from them than that. But here's some information that I think it's important you know. If you live in the EU, I recommend you take a look at your EU consumer rights, because unfortunately I've seen one case in particular where an EU citizen had to cite EU law twice in order for Solar to pay for the return shipping on a warranty on a cracked fretboard. If you live outside the EU, you pay return shipping, but if you live inside the EU, just make sure you know that law. I've linked it in the description so you can take a look. It's also worth noting that Solar's warranty doesn't cover any cracks, but it seems because there's a lot of them happening now, they're covering them out of goodwill, which is good, and I think they should. And even, again, if you look at some of those EU regulations, there's a potential case to be made that they should be doing that anyway. But nonetheless, it seems that the issues are being dealt with accordingly. And again, if you're a customer who does have a crack, please contact customer support and try and get your issues dealt with there. Alright, that's the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Maybe. Bye bye.